It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Adam Nuse, who is the Nashville Sounds Chief Operating Manager and General Manager. How are you doing today?
Oh man, doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Can you talk about, of course, how you became a general manager for the Nashville Sound?
Yeah, it started a long time ago. I was 18 years old when I first started working in it, probably 16 or 17 when I found out there was a job like this and I could work at a baseball stadium every day. So 40 years old now. So however long that's been, it's been a long time. But yeah, I think all through high school, my dad was a little worried about if I was going to take school serious. So he would scare me by going out and seeing guys digging ditches at 2 a.m. And then when I found out there's a job like this, it sounded a lot better than digging ditches at 2 a.m. So once I found out there's a job like this, I was kind of put all my eggs in that basket and have never looked back. Been rolling ever since.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about, of course, what you did for the Oakland City Redhawks?
Yeah, so the Oklahoma City Redhawks, they were my second team that I worked with. So the first one was the Round Rock Express, and we were at the time AA for the for the Houston Astros back then. AA for the Houston Astros, and at that point I was just an intern. I did every 2 weeks, went to a different department and got to experience all the different departments in a minor league office. And when I went up to Oklahoma City Redhawks, they were AAA for the Texas Rangers at the time. Now they're the Oklahoma City Dodgers. But I really kind of took what I learned with the Round Rock Express and found out I wanted to be a group sales rep. And I really enjoyed selling tickets. I enjoyed kind of that aspect of being a group sales representative and helping companies and kind of found my niche there. And when I was with the Redhawks, I can remember I was going to school at University of Oklahoma and I was driving down the highway and saw York air conditioning on the side of the road while I was driving to work. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to call them and see if they want to do a group outing. And so that was one of my first experiences of kind of drive by, cold call. And next thing you know, I sold a group of 5,000 and John Allgood, who was my boss at the time, general manager of the team, he went to the meeting. He was so excited for me. And I remember kind of at that moment thinking this group sales side is pretty fun. And you see the reward, you see the fruits of your labor. And that's kind of where I got introduced to it, was there with the Oklahoma City Redhawks.
That's amazing that you started as a marketing. Can you talk about, of course, your time as VP of the as VP of the Hooks?
Yeah, so the Corpus Christi Hooks, we were AA for the Houston Astros, and I was coming straight off grad school. I went to grad school at Wichita State. I got a sports management degree there, and newly married and moved down to Corpus Christi, where the team was just getting started. It was owned by Nolan Ryan, so a lot of the connections that I had when I was 18 with the Round Rock Express, that same ownership group was buying a team in Corpus Christi. So I had an opportunity to come on and jump on with them, and a seventh person on staff. So coming with that was I had to be the mascot at grocery stores. I had to be the mascot at 5K runs all around town, and really kind of build the brand from the ground up. And nobody really understood what minor league baseball was, so we really got in and had to educate people of what we were trying to do. And super successful organization down there, top notch. And I was there for 10 years. So I started off as an account executive, moved up to director of group sales, and then vice president of pretty much all things revenue was my role there. And I did that role for the last 5 years I was there.
That's amazing that you started from, of course, the ground up and then worked your way into the corporate. Can you talk about, of course, your time as VP, getting your first experience with Bowling Green?
Yeah, so with the Hot Rods, Bowling Green Hot Rods, it was actually my first opportunity to be general manager of a team. And that was kind of my lifelong goal of once I was 18 and realized I could do that job, I set my goal of wanting to be a general manager of a minor league team. And this was a great opportunity to come up to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was in South Texas and had 3 young kids and kind of felt like the opportunity was there. It's interesting that for no good reason, I was actually had an idea to try to buy the team in Bowling Green, and I had no money, but I felt like I knew people with money. So I woke my wife up in the middle of the night one time, and I was like, I think I want to go buy this team. Is advertised as a red hot deal in the Midwest, and so I inquired about it again with no money to be buying a team, but inquired about it, and they said they just sold the team, but they would put me in touch with the owners, that they were looking for a general manager, and so that's how I got connected to those guys, and it was run by a group called Manhattan Sports Acquisition Fund. And the plan at the time was to raise $100 million to buy 9 teams, and based out of New York City. We eventually bought the Louisville Bats. We tried to buy Frisco. We tried to buy Lynchburg. We tried to buy a bunch of teams, but it's hard to find good deals out there in minor league baseball. So we were being patient, and but it was a tremendous opportunity. Great people, great city. I actually still live in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and drive back and forth to Nashville every day. So a huge blessing to get to end up in this part of the world, and not sure how I ended up here, but glad I did.
Can you speak about how you got the Nashville Sounds job as the GM?
Yeah, so kind of once I was 31 when I got my first GM job in Bowling Green, and I remember thinking, man, I didn't want to hit my career goal when I was 31. So I set out a new goal that I wanted to run a AAA team, and Bowling Green Hot Rods are a single A team, smaller market, and so kind of set my goals to eventually have a AAA job like this. And pretty luckily, I got a call one day from the guy that's general manager before me here. His name's Gary Arthur, and he called me out of the blue, asked me if I wanted to grab lunch with him, and I thought at the time that we were trying to do a concert together or something business related. And when we met up, he was asking if I'd be interested in a job like this, that he was looking to retire and move back to Canada. And so we had a great conversation. And once he was ready to retire, this opportunity came up, and it's been, I think, 5 years now. So best spot to be in, best ballpark, best staff, best everything. The city's great. Definitely blessed to be in Nashville.
Can you talk about, of course, what you've accomplished so far in your 5 years at Nashville?
Yeah, I think one of the fun things is at the time, we did about 70 baseball games, and in 2019 we did 180 events at our ballpark, almost doubled our attendance from baseball in special events, and huge credit goes to guys like JJ Gotch back in Round Rock, who were always trying to do special events, and got to learn from them early on. And so when I got here, that was an opportunity that I wanted to see happen. And so in 2019, we hosted soccer games. We turned our stadium into Christmas Wonderland. We had concerts. We had exhibition games, beer festivals, all sorts of things. But it was pretty neat to see kind of the stadium grow and become more than just a baseball stadium. And been fun ever since.
Can you talk about some of the teams that you play in your conference?
Yeah, so it's changing up right now, but up to this last year, we've been in the Pacific Coast League. In the Pacific Coast League, we are basically everybody we play is closer to the Pacific Ocean than we are. So we'll go to Round Rock. We'll go to one point was New Orleans, moved to Wichita, Iowa Cubs, Memphis, all the way out to Tacoma, Washington, Sacramento, Fresno. This year, there's some transition happening with Major League Baseball taking over, and it looks like we will start playing probably more towards the Atlantic Ocean now. Probably teams like Louisville and maybe Gwinnett, Jacksonville, some of those teams up in your neck of the woods of Charlotte and Durham and Norfolk, some of those teams that are on the International League, maybe up to Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis. So I think our travel is going to get a lot better in this new setup, but still kind of waiting to see. We still don't have a schedule yet, so we'll hopefully be starting in April. Hopefully we get a schedule soon.
Can you talk about, of course, with being affiliated with minor league team, with being affiliated with major teams? What is the transaction like whenever players get called up or called down?
Yeah, so as general manager, I like to say that I'm not in our market. There's John Robinson, who's the general manager of the Titans. There's that's not my job. I'm not the one picking out players. I'm not the one evaluating coaches, evaluating who our second baseman is. So all of that now will come through the Milwaukee Brewers. Up to this point, last couple of years was Texas Rangers. The years before that was Oakland A's. But typically they'll tell us who the players are, and we try to welcome them and be good partners with them once they get here and make sure their experience is great. But a lot of what we do is try to make sure playing conditions are great, the stadium's clean, stadium's safe, and just make it a great place to help them advance their career. But ultimately, all those decisions come from the big league team, and we roll with it. And when we're winning, I take all the credit, and when we're losing, I point the finger and tell them, say that they're giving us the players, not me. But it's a good spot to be in.
Can you talk about, of course, what are some roles and responsibilities as GM?
Yeah, so again, it's not the player development side. It's one of the things we talk about is being constantly concerned about every aspect of the fan experience, and what that looks like is everything you can imagine. We're constantly trying to evaluate it. We're trying to make sure that when you come to the game, you have a great time. And if it's, we think through what the parking situation looks like. We think through concessions. What are we offering? We really want to make sure that we're a good community asset when you come to the game, that it's great entertainment anytime you come. And that's a big focus of ours. And then additionally, we want to make sure that we're good community partners. And it's going back to some of the accomplishments we've had here. We donated $100,000 to tornado relief. Tornado came right next to our stadium. Tons of devastation right by us, and we realized we could be the front porch to this community, and we could be the spot that everybody comes to try to help out this community, and seeing our staff come together, donating their time, donating their energy. Those are the things that outside of normal job, we want to make sure that we go extra above and beyond for our community anytime we can.
What are some of your traditions that you have with the Nashville Sound?
Yeah, one of the fan favorites is a tradition of a Legends race. So we have different, like Dolly Parton as a big mascot coming through racing, Johnny Cash, all dressed in black. So trying to really get into that Nashville music scene. We've talked about Brad Paisley, some of the other artists that could make a pretty fun mascot, and trying to include them as well. A lot of them aren't ready to become legends yet. They, like Johnny Cash is clearly a legend, and Dolly Parton, but hopefully as some of these great country artists out of Nashville start retiring, we can start picking them up as legends racing around the field. But other than that, kind of started a tradition of winning awards around here. So we are always recognized as one of the best stadiums in all of minor league baseball. We won a Freitas Award, which was for the best staff and operation in minor league baseball out of 160 teams. So those kind of things we start to expect every year and want to keep going.
It's amazing. Can you talk about, of course, with being in Nashville and the country city, how have you impacted, of course, country music with, of course, baseball?
Yeah, we always try to, I think our national anthems are some of the best in all of sports. I think my first week I was on the job, we had Trisha Yearwood. Maybe the first game I had, Trisha Yearwood was singing, and every night there's some amazing talent, so many up and coming music stars and hopeful music stars that get to come out to the ballpark. But we've had concerts like Florida Georgia Line. Well, that was in Bowling Green. Florida Georgia Line came, but we had Kings of Leon concert. Um, do all sorts of concerts and musics and try to make sure we embrace that as much as we can.
Can you talk about, of course, what a game day looks like at First Horizontal Park?
Yeah, one of the fun things is a game day. We try to make every day different, and we try to throw 70 parties a year. So we want to make sure every game feels a little bit different. But again, the fan experience is our top priority. So everything we do is kind of around that fan experience. But and when you get here, we try to have kind of neighborhoods in the stadium. So if you're coming with your buddies and you want to drink and have fun and not really pay attention to the game, we got a spot out in the bandbox where you can go and have a great time, have no idea what the score is, and enjoy kind of the atmosphere that way. But if you come and you're with your family, your parents, sisters, brothers, whatever it is, there's other spots that you could sit that might have the music dialed down a little bit, might be a little more casual of an environment, and you can experience the baseball game that way. If you're with your stat page and wanting to keep tracks of balls and strikes, amazing seats right behind home plate that are oftentimes available if you buy them in advance, and you can experience baseball very uniquely that way. And then if you come and you're trying to get a business deal done, we have another section that's really kind of catered to be business transactions kind of environment and kind of upper class and fancy it up a little bit. So when you come to a game, you can experience it a lot of different ways, and we love it that way.
That's amazing. What do you look forward to accomplishing with this upcoming season while in COVID, of course?
Yeah, a lot of challenges that come with COVID and some restrictions that we're probably going to face, but kind of controlling what we can control. One of the things that we're going to start doing is going cashless in the ballpark, which is a big undertaking and a little bit of a risk to doing, but some of the things that we're having to start bringing to the table because of COVID. But I think more than anything, we want to make sure that we continue to just be good every day, and we don't have to expect to be great in 2021, but if we can make sure that we continue to be good at what we're doing every day and make sure that we're staying by kind of our core values and make sure that we create a great experience, then that's what we're going to be focused on and do the best that we can.
What advice would you give upcoming future GMs looking to get into the industry of owning and being a GM of a baseball team?
Yeah, one of the things that I was really blessed with was I had guys like Jay Miller, Reed Ryan, Reese Ryan, a lot of good guys that were in jobs like mine that I could look up to. Ken Schramm in Corpus Christi. I got to have unbelievable mentors that were helping me through the way. But I realized finding a mentor is not easy. And a lot of people, if I go speak to college classes, they ask, how do I find a mentor? And I think the truth of it is you don't have to have that actual relationship all the time. I think what's fun about LinkedIn, what's fun about any of these websites you go to. Everything about me is pretty much written out on our bio page, but LinkedIn has my blueprint, and my blueprint doesn't work for everybody. There's you can look. There's guys that came through media relations. There's guys that came through finance. There's guys that came through working operations, grounds crew, that became general managers. And you find somebody that's a good blueprint of how they got there, then that opens up a good opportunity to have them as mentors without really knowing them. And good friend of mine, Emily, out in Reno, first female to, I think the only female to be running a AAA team right now, but she's a great blueprint that if you're female and wanting to be a GM, she's a great one. Without even having to know her, you can go and look at what she's done and accomplished and give you a good blueprint to move forward.
That's amazing. Where can my listeners find, of course, you at on social media along with the Nashville Sound at?
Yeah, so pretty much at Nashville Sounds for almost every platform that's out there. And for me, it's at Adam Nuse. So I didn't get too creative with that. So at Adam Nuse on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I started a TikTok, but I've never done anything with TikTok. So but yeah, at Adam Nuse for just about everything.
Thank you again, Adam, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season with Nashville Sound as their GM.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and good luck to you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brand, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Adam, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks so much.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.